Hi, I'm Aki Inomata, a contemporary artist based in Tokyo. At first, I'd like to show you one of my work, Girl, Girl, Girl. Do you know bagworm? Bagworm is type of moth, a common insect in Japan. Bagworms usually make pretty cases from leaves and branches, and these become their own shelters. When I gave them thin pieces of women's clothing, they made these cages using the clothes. The bagworm skillfully connects separate clothes with the thread they spit out their mouths. I called this my work, but actually, these protective cages were not made by me. Creators here are the bagworms. I was really surprised to see these amazing cages. It was more beautiful than I had expected. As you can see, it is often not I who is creating the work. I'm collaborating with non-human animals. Today, I would like to show you some of my works. It will show you how I created a bridge between human beings and other species. This is my longest series, Why Not Hand Over Shelter to Hermit Crabs? Hermit crabs change their shells as they grow. Sometimes they are kicked out of their shelters by stronger hermit crabs and forced to exchange shells. The transparent shells that I made them represent cities from around the world, such as New York City, Berlin, Guayaquil, and Tokyo. My journey started in 2009 when I participated in an exhibition called No Man's Land at French Embassy in Tokyo. The exhibition was held before the destruction of the embassy as an event to mark the demolition. I was surprised at the fact that the land on which the French embassy was located belonged not to Japan but to France. The territory was returned to Japan for its demolition in 2009. However, I heard that France is going to reclaim this territory in 60 years. I was intrigued by this story, and this became my inspiration for Why Not Hand Over Shelter to Hermit Crabs. I associated this story with the way that hermit crabs exchange shelters. Hermit crabs move from shelter to shelter, and they change their appearance drastically. To me, this resembled how humans move from city to city, crossing borders, and even sometimes changing nationalities. For hermit crabs, the shell is not a part of their own body. The shelters are interchangeable. However, when we see hermit crabs, we identify them with the shells. For example, I call one of the hermit crabs green in Japanese because its shell was green. There is a difference between how the hermit crabs value the shells and how we perceive the shells. We also have a gap between the perception from others and how we perceive ourselves. In my initial attempt, I made spherical shapes like ping-pong balls with filling on top. However, when I placed them in front of the hermit crabs, the shells were not accepted by hermit crabs. Every morning, I found the shells that I made discarded in the hermit crab's drinking fountain. So I started using a CT scanner to study the shape of seashells and replicate the interior structure. I added intricate cityscapes on the top of the CT scan shell data, and then created shells using a 3D printer. By doing so, I was finally able to create a shell for the hermit crabs to move into. The reason why my shelters look like this is largely due to the dialogue I shared with the hermit crabs. This design combines the organic shape of the shell and an artificial design by adding landscapes. I developed this method through a trial and error process in which I worked together with the hermit crabs. There are many hardships in making shelters for hermit crabs. I experienced many unintended consequences and accidents in my practice with other species. In the work of how to carve a sculpture, I set up wooden square poles and let the beavers gnaw on them. The beavers created a variety of shapes, some mountain-shaped, some bird-like, others reminiscent of human body. Some looked like the sculptures of Constantine Brancusi. I do not know whether these shapes are dependent on the structure of the tree, whether they are the result of the beavers carving only the soft parts of the tree, or whether they are due to the beavers' sense of beauty. Of course, the beavers have not been observing and copying human beings, but their work looked as if they were. We cannot help but feel the creativity in them. In this project, I made replicas of the work that the beavers had created, but larger. Since humans weigh about 3 times as beavers, I decided to make replicas that were 3 times the original size. This next artwork is named I Wear the Dog's Hair and Dogs Wears My Hair, and that is exactly what I did. I made a cape for myself using my dog's hair and a cape for my dog using my own hair. Dogs and humans are 2 species that have co-evolved. If there were no humans, dogs would still be wolves. And if there were no dogs, humans could not have developed their civilization like it is today. Humans and dogs are irreplaceable to one another. I wanted to conduct a one-on-one exchange of our body parts, each of us representing our own species. Through this process, I wanted to reconsider the human-centered relationship between pets and human beings. The coats made out of each other's hair kept us both warm. The dog, Chero, was very excited when I wore the coat made out of his hair, probably because he could smell himself in the coat. He was sniffing me again and again. Through this project, I felt our intimacy growing. However, ironically, I became allergic to dogs. It seems like I inhaled my dog's hair too much in the process of weaving large amount of the dog's hair, in the way that the body may reject an organ transplant. The body of another was also a foreign object to me. I found that while the body of another could at times be accepted, it was also subject to cold rejection. I went to study French for half a year, taking a parakeet with me, and made this video. His name is Wasabicho. He can speak Japanese a little, such as konnichiwa and chodai. I took him my French lesson. He went to sleep as soon as the lesson started. I even considered giving up on this project. However, he started to want to join us, and he gradually started to participate in our classes and learn to say This phrase seemed to have a similar meaning to word chodai. It means give me something to eat in Japanese, which he was originally able to say. In addition, he began to say wasabicho s'il vous plaît. After 6 months, he began to say wasabi vous plaît for short. A parakeet was invited to the French lesson by me. He blurred the line between French and Japanese and created a new language that fused the two. This was completely unexpected to me. I came to realize that there are as many as languages as there are individuals. Language cannot just be categorized into Japanese, French, native, and foreign. We all speak our own language that is unique to each of us.
Je vais demander à ce monsieur.
So let me ask a question. Do you have a roommate? My roommate was an octopus. She joined me to create my next artwork. One day, I learned that an ammonite and an octopus have the same roots. The octopus originally had a shell, but the shell was discarded in the process of evolution. And ammonite disappeared 66 million years ago. I got an idea that allowed a live octopus and ammonite to meet beyond space and time. How do octopuses feel when they regain their phantom life? I'm not sure if they have any memory of their ancient ancestors. However, I believe that I created an unexpected accident for octopus to reacquaint herself with ammonite shelters. When I introduced an ammonite shell to an octopus, she slept in the ammonite shell every night. When I took the shell away in order to clean it, she resisted by spraying seawater. I think she really liked the ammonite shell I had restored. So, as you have seen, I create works with other species. Every process creates a new relationship between me, a human being, and another species. It helped me shift the default relationship to something new. Looking at animals, I realized that the act of creating is not exclusive to mankind. Originally, humans were a different species, and humans have the potential to become a different kind of creatures. Contemporary art is like a white canvas. We can challenge, experiment, and create thoughts that cannot be categorized in the existing field of study. Or it might be a place to question the current categorical understanding of reality. Also, contemporary art for me is a place of actual practice, which demands a hands-on approach. Through my art, I would like to explore coincidences and hidden possibilities in the world. Interacting with living creatures often bring me unexpected events. My work and I are constantly transformed by engaging with other species. Therefore, the most important thing in my art practice is not to force control over other creatures, but to allow them to affect me through our coexistence. Opening your mind to learning from other species or otherness can allow your perspectives and values to transform. And that, for me, is most exciting experience there is.